everybody, and welcome to the Positively Altered podcast. I am Dr. Cindy, a chiropractic internist and nutritionist, and a very proud author of the book Positively Altered, Finding Happiness at the Bottom of a Chemo Bag. Today, I'm going to take you back quite a few decades to my college experience. And I don't actually want to talk about the classroom, but I want to talk about the migraine headaches that I experienced at that time in my life. And for any of you that get headaches or have experienced headaches, you know they can be pretty debilitating. And my experience was no different. When they got bad enough, and bad enough that I really couldn't keep my eyes open or function, I would trek off to the hospital and get my drugs in order to get me out of the headache. And then I would get my drugs to help with the nausea and the vomiting that would occur from the drugs that I got for my migraine headache. And then it would take me a day or two to recover. And thank goodness, and I'm not even sure why, I was able to grow out of those. But for a lot of people out there, I know that headaches and pain are something that we deal with every single day. So today, we are going to figure out how to make pain and headaches sexy as we talk about it. So you wonder how that's going to happen? Stay tuned. We're going to take a listen to a couple of really important sponsors, and we will be right back.
Hello, my name is Heather Lord, and I am the COO of Professional Health Products. Cutting corners is an all too common practice in the dietary supplement industry. When my father founded Professional Health Products, he sourced the cleanest, most biologically active ingredients from around the globe. Today, that commitment remains, which is why the finest healthcare practitioners, like Dr. Cindy, have trusted us for more than 40 years. We oversee the entire process in our manufacturing facility, from sourcing and formulation to manufacturing and labeling. Today, we offer over 300 unique products that can be tailored to the nutritional and homeopathic needs of each individual. Most recently, we launched a proprietary genetic test, allowing our practitioners to get even more dialed in to their patients' health. To learn more about Professional Health Products, please talk to your practitioner or visit our website at phpltd.com.
Today, your life is going to be altered. I'm Dr. Cindy.
Welcome to Infinity. We have worked hard to create an electronic claims website that is simple and user-friendly. This is the public side. You can log into your personal web portal here. This is your dashboard. You can personalize it to your liking here. Our main focus has been to allow you to submit and edit claims as easy as possible. You will find our claims editor and claims processing is simple to use and straightforward. Our quick action bar is where you can find your most important information. Most of these icons will take you directly to the claims the number represents. You can easily view if you have any messages in your inbox of any unread alerts by looking for these blue numbers. To view the rest of our training videos to get the most of your Infinity experience, click this icon. We hope you find this web portal simple and easy to use. Thanks for letting us serve you.
I'm Dr. Cindy. Who wouldn't want to join me for the Positively Altered podcast? I'm so glad you made it back. So you're either curious about headaches or you have one currently. And either way, we're going to get some really great information today. I want to introduce you to actually a very dear friend of mine, and equally important, somebody who's in the headache and pain space in a way that is really changing the face of healthcare. Paul Timko, who lives in the great state of Ohio, which, by the way, Paul has the best roller coasters on the planet as far as I'm concerned, and I love a good roller coaster. He is the vice president of sales and marketing for a company called Troy Healthcare, and they are manufacturing a product called StoPain Clinical and a product that is addressing headaches. So Paul, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for that great introduction. Great to see you as always, Dr. Cindy. This is exciting. I've been looking forward to this for a while now, so awesome.
I love it. So we were preparing, right, for this podcast, and we ask always our guests a bunch of questions so that we can prepare. And one of the questions is, what is your favorite book? And you know what I loved? This is the real reason I had you on, right? It has nothing to do with sexy headaches. It had everything to do with the fact that you actually put my book down. And for those of you that are watching, you can see one's in my background. It's also, Paul, go ahead, move to your right just a little smidge. You can see my book in the background. So he wasn't kidding. He's actually even read the book, haven't you, Paul?
I have.
Awesome. I love it.
One of the first advanced copies.
You were, and I appreciate the support. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. All right, so let's get into headache. Why headaches? Why pain? Like, what jazzes you about those two topics that you are spending your career and your time dedicated to those two things?
Well, first off, I'm very fortunate in that I don't suffer from migraine or headaches. And for the longest time, even though I've been involved in topical pain relief for probably almost 15 years now, from a manufacturing standpoint, it wasn't until 5 years ago that I even knew that there were solutions like the one I currently work for with StoPain Clinical. But what I've learned over the last 5 years is that there are so many people that are suffering from migraine. And I know we don't have a ton of time, but I want like statistics. There's 40 million in the US alone that suffer from migraine. And it disproportionately affects women. And why this is important to me is that I have 2 daughters and a wonderful wife. And many of the people in our company we have a lot of women and very, important women in our lives. And so when we look at how prevalent migraine is and how I would say underserved it is from an effective solution standpoint and a lack of education, it became my mission from day one when I joined Troy Healthcare. And we have a family business that's behind us because this is really the only, and we'll talk more about StoPain Clinical, but it's really more about meeting the people that are struggling from migraine headache because of how debilitating it is and how difficult it is to find solutions. And with our product, but also with chiropractors and our relationships with chiropractors, we believe we have the best tools and solutions possible to help so many people. And again, the important women in our lives.
So I laugh because you want to help the important women in our lives. And I think about my 3 kids. I have one that is a female. And sometimes I say they're the cause of my headache. Right. Right. So I'm not sure that you have the right product for that particular case. So we might have to, make that exempt from the conversation today. But
that's off-label use. That's we can't talk about our product for that.
I can slather the kids in this product to see if they can stop causing my headaches. Is that how we do that? I think there's a research study here somewhere that we may need funded, Paul, in order to see if that works.
Love it.
Although I will tell you, I think the boys give me a run for my money just as much as my daughter does. So I'm not sure the headache is geared more female in that case. Why is there anything that you look at? I mean, I know I have my opinion clinically, but why do you think it affects women more than it affects men?
Well, actually, it's a lot of what I've learned from you as far as, ultimately the science behind it, the physiological differences, the hormonal aspect of it. I'm sure there's a lot of lifestyle causes. Really, a lot of it is we're still learning, right? But a lot of it goes back to the individual, and that's why whenever we talk about products, and sometimes products there's a stigma associated with it. Why are we talking about products? In this case, we always talk about a product in conjunction with a relationship with a healthcare professional like a chiropractor, so that chiropractor can really get in and understand what's going on with that individual, regardless whether they're a man or a woman, really understanding their lifestyle, their age, all of those environmental factors, all of those things, because that's how complicated and complex, and you know this infinitely better than I. There's so many things that can affect this. And that's why it's important to make sure we bring those individuals to a chiropractor and a healthcare professional to really learn about all of those things and the best treatment path forward.
Yeah, it's interesting. Headaches are hard, I think, sometimes because to your point, there's so many different underlying causes. Is it a riboflavin deficiency? Is it a drop in estrogen? Is it, changes just in stress level throughout the day? Is it musculoskeletal? And sometimes we have a hard time. I think back growing up, my mother was one of these women that never complained about anything. You never knew if something was giving her a hard time, but there was always a bottle of Excedrin not too far away from my mother. So even though she wouldn't say, "Oh, I have a headache today," I'm pretty sure she had quite a few because, that bottle was constantly being refilled. And I know for me, there's a lot of over-the-counter medications that either A, don't work, or B, like in my case, I don't really want to take them. I don't like the ingredients. I don't like the dyes that are associated with some of the capsules. It just doesn't fit my lifestyle choices, right? To take some of the over-counter meds. And certainly, even some of the really strong pharmaceuticals. And I know there's a time and a place for those, and some people need them, but what I love about what you're doing, and yeah, we're talking about product today, so everybody's got to like look at this in the right way, but what I love about what you guys are doing is you've created something that is free of all of that negative, um, the negativity, right, surrounding some of those concerns that people have in popping some of these products. So, can we talk a little bit about the topical and why it's so fantastic, and it gives us that alternative to what's out there?
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to where I mentioned, for a long time, almost probably 30 plus years, there's been great topical pain relief solutions for things like muscle aches, arthritis, but it's actually, it's a pretty unique situation that we're in with StoPain Clinical, is that we have a topical that we went through the process to not only formulate something, but get it approved through the appropriate channels, to have something, and also do a study at the Thomas Jefferson Headache Center to make sure we could deliver a topical solution for temporary relief of migraine and headache. And I emphasize temporary there because that's what really most OTC products are. It's not a cure. It's not the treatment of the underlying causes, as you mentioned. So when we look at our particular gel that is dosed and has ingredients specific to migraine and headache symptoms like light sensitivity, noise sensitivity, even nausea and headache pain, obviously. So our gel is actually applied behind the ears and back of the neck, so suboccipital. And it's designed to actually, like with menthol, belladonna, all these homeopathic ingredients as well that can help with those symptoms. But all that science comes together in a product that doesn't have the side effects associated with many of the oral medications that you mentioned. So they can take this when they're having symptoms and reapply as needed. And it's going to provide that temporary relief and hopefully get them through that episode, and then ultimately be something they can rely on as a first step for pain relief. And maybe they use something else in conjunction or change something else in their lifestyle. But really, the goal is to provide relief.
So really the cool thing about the homeopathic type ingredients is we almost sort of don't, I shouldn't say care, but don't need to know what the underlying cause is, right? Because those homeopathics have the effects for all the different underlying causes in order to take away the symptoms. Yes?
Yeah. It's one option to help them get through. It kind of goes back to, the homeopathics. There's tons of, use studies, personal experiences of people using belladonna and all these other homeopathic ingredients. But I always go back to the one known that we have is menthol, and how well menthol attaches to pain receptors. There's a long history, uh, a wealth of evidence about how effective menthol is at attaching to pain receptors and providing temporary pain relief. So there is science to it, and there's benefits associated with those other ingredients. But again, it's all going to be temporary, but it's really about helping with quality of life while they're getting treatment for that underlying cause.
I love it. So, it's and I use the product. I use it personally when I have an issue. I certainly recommend it to patients. It's been a fantastic adjunct to my practice. And not only because it helps, but quite frankly, I don't know anything else on the market that behaves like this, that works like this. So there's no competition, right? Like, and I'm sure it's coming. People will figure it out and follow, right? But right now, it's a standalone that's really, truly unique. And I think that's fabulous. One of the other things I'd love for you to hit on is I think it's really important when we talk about different products. It's one thing to have something great that people can use, but I also think it's really important to talk about the company and how the company participates in different activities and gives back to the community. And I know, you guys show up to all kinds of different headache type events, right? And share a little bit about what the company does. I'd love for people to get a feel for really who you are as an organization that does more than just has a great product.
Oh, thank you. We love this question. It's a family business. Anthony Sassini is the owner, and it's for 27 plus years. It's been running and operating really around the sole purpose of being the world's best in manufacturing topical analgesics. So long history with some of the most popular brands or the most common brands out there. But, about 8 years ago, they kind of had an internal mission of how do we advance the topical pain relief market. And two things happened. They wanted to make sure that we had a topical pain relief product for the healthcare professionals. So that was exclusively available through healthcare professionals. And that's where StoPain Clinical comes in. And that's the traditional formula for the muscle aches and pains and arthritis. But along that, they said, let's do something different. And that's where the migraine and headache product came in. And a lot of it was out of personal experience and people that they would run into that were suffering from migraine, and said, hey, let's shake things up and let's do something different for people that are in our lives and that are underserved from a solution standpoint. And so this family business got together and said, let's do this. And they did it. And it's been our mission. And we're kind of what we, even though we work primarily through healthcare professionals, it's our goal is to get awareness out there to those patients, those individuals, those consumers that are suffering. So we partner with chiropractors, but we're still struggling in the sense that it's almost like a too good to be true factor, right? So it's, even though we have so many testimonials, and we're out at running events, advocacy events for migraine and headache, we're still up against this. For only $12, I can get a packet that's gonna apply to the back of my neck. Get out of here! There's no way, right? But it's one of those feeling is believing in this case. And now we're just trying to get this great solution out there so we can help some people.
Well, maybe if you charge $79.99 and morning when you can't sleep due to a headache, if you buy one box now, we send you one for free. Maybe that overcomes the obstacle. I don't know.
I'm sure there's something there too. So,
right. Sometimes maybe people want to pay more to think that they're getting good quality, and that's just really not the case, is it? It's just,
no, it's exactly.
Sometimes things just don't have to be expensive. So what's next for the StoPain family?
Really, I mean, we've learned, we've launched some products along the way, we tried to kind of move into some different spaces, and it's been a good lesson for me in that, and I guess it's just a good reminder in that I was lucky to find 15 years ago the world of chiropractic through a friend of mine, Dr. Dana Mackison, when I was with a previous company. And he taught me pretty early on not only the benefits that chiropractors provide, but the opportunity that I had as a manufacturer and as a marketing professional to really work with clinics and their communities on just helping with wellness. And I didn't want to leave it. And so even though we ventured out into different product categories, we said, let's stay in our lane and let's keep it simple and just be the best at what we do. And so in a way to answer your question of what is next or what is new for us, is actually just get better at what we're doing and be the best partner possible for clinics and practice owners and primarily chiropractors.
I love it. I have to tell everybody out there listening, Paul is one of those just amazing people that truly cares about other people and the benefits versus the product being primary. And I think that also goes back to the family that owns the company. I've actually had the privilege of being a guest out to the facility, and I've walked through the manufacturing plant, and just the feeling that you get in a family organization that truly does care, not only about all of you out there and getting well, but their own people, just resonates strongly. And it's great to be able to support and get behind a product that does both, right? It actually works, and it comes out of just the love of people and a great relationship. So I'm very proud to have you on the podcast and be associated, and recommend that everybody tries it. And stay tuned, because we'll give everybody an idea on how to get some samples so that they can try the product and make sure that it works for them. But in the meantime, we have to take another break. So you can go to the bathroom or you can get a glass of water, but make sure you do it within earshot, because those sponsors are super important to me. You want to listen to them. Let's take a couple minutes, and then we're going to come back. And Paul, we're going to do something fun that you know nothing about. So get ready and join us in a few more minutes. This is your weekly dose of Dr. Cindy, the Positively Altered podcast. Starting your weekend out right with Dr. Cindy and the Positively Altered podcast. So glad you're back. We are going to wrap up here, Paul, with something really fun that you are not prepared for, but I promise it'll be easy and I'll be gentle, okay?
I'm ready.
So here's what we do. We end the podcast with a bunch of rapid fire questions, and sometimes they're really fast, and sometimes because you give me weird answers, I go on tangents that may take a little bit longer. But I'm going to just ask you a question, and I want you to just, first thing that comes to mind that is your truth, I would like you to answer that. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. First question. If you could make snow any color on the planet, what color would you pick and
Blue.
why?
Blue.
Blue, and why?
I like the song Blue Christmas. I mean, that was, you said the first thing that came to my mind. I didn't say it was going to be good.
No, I wanted the first thing. I'm just curious how we're going to differentiate the sky from the snow when it snows.
That's a good point.
Okay, just something to think about. All right, second question. If you were going to pick anything to drink, would it be sweet, sour, or strong?
Oof. I would go with sour.
Sour. Okay. All right. So, like, were you a Sour Patch Kid? Was that like your candy of choice?
I was, and actually, it goes back to blue. When they came out with the
you
blue,
like the blue Sour Patch
I
Kid?
pick them at my kids. It drives my kids crazy because I'm the one that steals all the blue Sour Patch Kids.
Okay, so I'm going to admit something that I'm going to really regret because, you know, I'm a big advocate of like healthy eating and staying away from the food coloring and all of that. But I'm going to go ahead and admit this. When I would like begrudgingly let my kids pick out some candy to go to the movies and they would buy the Sour Patch Kids, green. Green. I think the blue is gross. Really? You're the blue guy.
See, I grew up on blue slushies. Remember slush puppies?
Oh.
The little, and you'd squirt that blue dye into the, and into the slush. I would always go for an extra couple pumps.
Oh, all right. You're killing me here. All right. See, and you got me to admit something I don't like to admit to. So green, yeah, green and blue. Okay. Let's move on because we went down a rabbit hole that just doesn't feel healthy. All right. Everybody always wants to know if you could pick one famous person on the planet to have lunch with, who would it be? I actually truly don't care who would that be. I want to know what you would eat.
Okay, that made it a little bit easier. Oh, wow. You know what? It's I would say a crab cake, a lump crab cake from Maryland in my favorite place in Annapolis. So that would be my ultimate meal is actually a lump crab cake from a place in Annapolis, Maryland.
Okay, awesome. So we got to make sure that famous person can get there. Perfect. All right. If you could participate in any Olympic sport, what sport would you excel at?
Oh, what do I think? Man, I would probably have some people that would debate me on this, but I actually think it would be basketball.
Basketball?
10 years ago, not right now, not at this point, but maybe 10 or 15 years ago.
Are you offense or defense? Like, where's your strong suit?
Oh, I'm excellent at both. Just below
but
the key is below the rim. Like, so it's nothing's happening with me above the rim. So that would be one of the, even when I was younger, that'd be one of the limiting factors at the Olympic level.
So would we make the sport such that the basket counts if the ball goes up through the hoop rather than over through the hoop?
That would definitely help me. Yes. And, but right now I would need a lot more help than that. So.
And then so I'm going to add a question. Do you have like a gym shoe of choice then that's going to give you that extra air, no pun intended there, I guess, with, where my loyalty lies, right?
Yeah, I'd have to go, I'm going to date myself. I would have to go back to like the Reebok pumps. I don't know if everybody remember those. And I'd need some extra, I need to like put some helium in those things. So,
all right.
But there's nothing that's going to help me get my vertical, there was never really a vertical leap there, but
all right. Well, I have a magic secret for you since this is all make believe anyway, because I know we have one of these in our front lawn. Is they actually make those basketball hoops that are adjustable, so we could have an Olympic sport for you where it's a little bit lower, so that you got game.
Well, let me tell you, I'm going to tell you one little secret here. When COVID, you guys ever heard about COVID? That several years ago, when first couple months we were all quarantined, stuck in our homes. I'm bringing up a very polarizing subject, but I lowered my basketball hoop, and then the goal was to actually move it up 6 inches until you couldn't dunk. Well, let's just say I got pretty high, and ever since then, I tweaked my knee and have never been able to get back to where I was. So that's a good way to kind of bring it full circle with I should have went to a chiropractor, and instead I try to self-treat myself.
Well, I got a great topical for you, Paul, that I would highly recommend.
Oh, I use that a
Will
bunch.
help with your pain.
No pain. I just can't jump anymore. I can't land and I can't jump. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, I appreciate the participation. The last question I have for you, and maybe my absolute favorite, is what was your favorite thing about doing the podcast today?
wow, really, it's the family business thing. I joined the company, as I merged. I had my own company for a while, and I had the opportunity. Troy Healthcare was one of my clients. StoPain Clinical was one of the brands I helped. And when Anthony Cicini, I had dinner with him. As you can imagine, a nice Italian dinner. And when I met not only him but his family, his wife, his kids, and all the other people at the company, the fact that you gave the opportunity today to really talk about that family is something that I'll remember and appreciate for a long time. So thank you for that.
Oh, my pleasure. And you can't go to a restaurant with a guy named Cicini and make it a Swedish meal, right? Like, I mean, it's got to be a good Italian restaurant. And I know when I came out to visit, I think we did Italian too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, of course.
That's where
Absolutely.
we showed up.
It's a must.
So share with everybody out there, how do we get a hold of some of these samples so that we can try it and we can change the world and get people out of their headaches? How do they find you? How do they get a hold of it?
Yeah, the easiest way we have a short URL. It's just stopa.in/sample. Very clever marketing people here, but that's basically it. And I know we talked a lot about chiropractors and healthcare professionals, but really our passion is helping consumers. So everybody that's listening that is not a clinician, don't feel like you can't reach out to us, and that's what that URL is for. You can tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll figure out how to connect you with some topical pain relief, but also a healthcare professional in your community.
I love it. So everybody out there, take advantage of that. It's really important. It's great product. And even if it's not for you, do it anyway so that you can help somebody you love that may be suffering from some of these conditions. If there's anything else I can help you with, the best way to get a hold of me and become part of the community is get a hold of my website. Go to drsindyspeaks.com. You can sign up for my newsletter and be part of the family. I would absolutely love that. You know what, Paul? My favorite thing about the podcast today was reconnecting with you. Paul has absolutely helped me in my space and in my community and has been just really a Dr. Cindy cheerleader. And I can't tell you how much I am appreciative of all the things that you do for me. So love to pay it back. That's what family is truly all about. I hope all of you today, in one way or another from this conversation, were positively altered. See you next time.